Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Policeman injured in hit and run in St. Mary. A police constable has been hospitalized in serious condition after he was injured in a hit and run incident on Sunday in Port Maria, St. Mary. It's reported that about 10 o'clock, members of a special team were in search of a red Yaris motor vehicle suspected to be transporting drugs in the parish. The vehicle was spotted along the main road in Grants Pen, and the driver signaled to stop by the constable. The driver reportedly disobeyed the signal and hit the policeman, who sustained multiple fractures. The suspects escaped. Common law partner charged in Westmoreland murder. The man suspected of killing 40-year-old Karen Williams, the woman whose body was found in shallow grave near her home in Mount Airy District, Westmoreland last week, has been arrested and charged with murder. Charged is 26-year-old Courtney Cooper, otherwise called Junior, of the same address. Cooper was Williams' common law partner at the time of her killing. Cooper surrendered to the Spanish Town Police in St. Catherine on Thursday, where he was arrested and subsequently handed over to the Westmoreland Police. He was charged on Saturday, December 10, following a question and answer interview. His court date is being finalized. A post-mortem that was conducted during the investigation revealed that Williams was choked and stabbed with a knife to the chest. Williams' body was discovered about 7:30 a.m. on Friday, December 2nd. Lawmen reported they visited the house of Williams after family members reported that she was not seen for a while. Checks were made and her decomposing body was found buried in a shallow grave to the rear of the premises. Number of police fatal shooting does not indicate overuse of deadly force, says Fitzsimmet. Security consultant Robert Fitzsimmet says the number of fatal shootings by police officers does not reflect any widespread practice of the police to use deadly force in all confrontations with criminals. He was speaking against the background of a report from the Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom that 14 police officers were involved in 112 fatal shootings during the period June 1, 2020 to July 30, 2021. Mr. Fitzsimmet said it is better that only 14 have been identified, arguing that a higher number of officers would indicate that deadly force is frequently being used and that cops are following what the National Security Minister technically told them some time ago, which is shoot to kill. Has it ever occurred that there are specialist teams within the force that encounter these types of confrontations more often than other people, and they would be the ones to sharpen the stick, so to speak, Mr. Fitzsimmet suggested. He said police officers are placed in a precarious position when they engage with violent criminals as they try to protect themselves and the lives of others. Mr. Fitzsimmet noted that if a criminal is killed during a police operation, the officer will face consequences including indictment, legal fees, and the loss of income, whether the killing is justified or not. This, he said, makes some officers hesitant about using their firearm. So it is a very interesting situation, because if someone attacks you with the intent and you retreat, you have no given up ground that you'll probably never get back. On the other hand, if you return fire and do so accurately, and do so often, you are now regulated as an executioner, he pointed out, lamenting that we keep giving our police force basket to carry water and then accusing them of spilling. Mr. Fitzsimmet was speaking on Monday with reporters. Psychologist Dr. Lishman Simaji believes the fact that no charges were laid against the officers involved in the fatal shooting indicates that they were justified in their actions. Dr. Simaji said the figures from Indicom would indicate that 14 officers involved in the majority of fatal shootings are good at their jobs given the weighty circumstances under which they have to operate. In any data set, you will have some outliners. You'll have some people who it happened to more than others because of the circumstances they are in, because of their efficiency. Because, let's face it, if you are a good shot, it means that many times when confronted and you have to return fire, it would be more effective than others, he argued. Simaji, who was speaking to reporters, said it is then unfortunate that these officers are singled out for how often they are involved in such incidents while lawfully carrying out their duties in life or death situations. Bruce Golding cites misbelief about role of ore. Former Prime Minister Bruce Golding says that the Office of Utilities Regulation (OR) is being bedeviled by the conception that it is a consumer protection agency. Golding told guests attending the 25th Annual Long Service Award of the ORS at the Terranova All-Souls Hotel in St. Angela last week that instead of being seen as a consumer protection agency, the OR's real task is being a fair-minded referee of the utility company's treatment of consumers. We cannot ignore, we cannot fail to recognize that the fact that the level of dissatisfaction with the utility service providers is high, he says, relating to recent letters to the press and complaints being aired on radio and television by consumers. According to Golden, while some of the complaints made by the public against utility companies are groundless, many of them are real. He also noted consumers' dissatisfaction with the customer care arrangements to hear their complaints, which leaves much to be desired. When I perused the annual report of the major utility providers, the Jamaica Public Service Company, the National Water Commission, Flow and Digicel, I could not find anywhere in those reports any mention of their customer care performance, he said. He pointed out that while there is a need for a discernible level of communication between the consumers and the utilities, there is also a need for the institution which is not subject to the control of the government as one of its agencies. He said that the agency should be transparently insulated from public control in order to command the confidence of the investors and the providers on the one hand and customers and clients on the other hand, noting that while in the past the JPS was government-owned and monopoly power provider, and tariff adjustments were made by political considerations, while the level of capital investment in the utility sector was insufficient to support the country's growth and development prospects, these areas have since been widened to accommodate more private investors. Standards, although subject to ministerial direction, was largely left up to the service provider themselves, and not surprisingly, the quality of service was far below what was desired, he noted. He said that, importantly too, at the time in 1979, when the OR was created, the country had embarked on a new era of globalization, moving rapidly towards a market-driven private investment market model of economic activities. It goes without saying that utilities play a vital role in economic activities and economic development, Golden stated, noting that in addition to all of that, two significant development occurs around the same time when the OR was seen as pivotal. One was the digital revolution, which radically transformed the way Jamaicans live and how they did business, and the other was the growing awareness of the impact of climate change and the need for the energy sector to be adapted to reduce, if not reverse, the harmful effect on the environment. So therefore, against that background, as an open economy, we were in danger of being left in the backwater of that transition, Golden said. He said that the country would not have been able to navigate the transition to a globalized world without an institution that could temper the ferocity and the excessive of the free market. However, he said the institution could not be a government agency subject to the direction and control of the state. It has to be transparently isolated from political control in order to command the confidence of the investors and providers on the one hand and customers and clients on the other. It is a very fine line that has to be walked because there are conflicting interests and factors that have to be brought into some kind of an alignment, he said. The stakeholders must be allowed to make a competitive return on their investments, and the service providers must be able to operate within a predictable environment that allows them to plan and make realistic forecasts. Golden argued that, in addition, the consumers must be assured of good, quality service at reasonable prices, and the country must be satisfied that service providers are undertaking the investments and introducing the innovations that will ensure the sustainability and continued improvement of the services that they provide.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell.